Now I know, just looking at the thumbnail for this video and or reading the title of it, whatever I ultimately come up with for those things, some of you are going to click on this and immediately take to the comments below and say something like, I will never like Rey or the sequels, and there's nothing anyone could ever do to fix any of it. In fact, I don't want those movies fixed. I want them gone, I want them retconned, and nothing less will do. And that is a perfectly fine or understandable stance to take. I'm not a fan of the sequels either, to say the very least. I've got a couple hundred videos or so in my catalog going into all the reasons why. And in a way, I think it's that dislike for the sequels, and if I may say, my understanding of it, considering I have read thousands upon thousands of comments from people who also don't like those films, but it's all that just might make me the perfect person for the task of, well, not fixing the sequels. I don't think there's anything anyone could ever do to change the minds of some fans. Some people are just never ever going to like those movies no matter what. I've even said myself, I will never like those movies, period. However, maybe, just maybe, there is a way to create a post-sequel trilogy movie, or even trilogy, that people who hate the sequels would potentially enjoy. And again, I know you don't even want to like anything related to them. I get it, and I even kind of welcome that challenge. And that's even how I'm going to approach this, as a challenge. I'm going to pretend that in some strange alternate reality, Lucasfilm and Disney came to me and said, hey Thor, we want you to come up with a post-sequel trilogy story that uses those characters, primarily Rey, that would win over the fans who didn't like the film. At which point I would respond by saying something to them like,
You want the impossible.
I'd then go on to tell them that they'd be better off abandoning Rey and the sequel characters and moving far, far into the future, or back to the old Republic. Then, in this hypothetical scenario, they would say, no, it has to be Rey for reasons, and we want you to be the guy that does it. And mind you, that is what they're supposedly doing. They are supposedly going all in on Rey. There is a Rey movie in the works, kind of. It's had multiple writers and was announced 2.5 years ago, and there's not a lot of progress. But then there's also a trilogy from Simon Kinberg that, rumor has it, will also be featuring Rey. And so, since this does seem to be the direction Star Wars wants to take for, again, reasons, they probably want to salvage their own character and try to salvage the trilogy she's in. I can kind of understand that from their point of view. But anyway, jumping right in now, and in this video, I'm really only going to cover my basic idea when it comes to how I would do this, and I'll go from there. If you all say, yes, Thor, I think you might have something here, I will then continue on and make more videos in this series. And if not, if most of you down in the comments are saying this won't work, then I will stop. Though I do ask for you to give me a fair chance here, even if you are someone dead set on never ever liking these characters or anything associated with them, just hear me out. Either way, getting to it and assuming I said yes to Disney and Lucasfilm that I would take this impossible mission upon myself, the first thing I have to deal with and overcome here is the obvious, what I've already been talking about, that there's just no saving the sequel trilogy movies for some fans, which already feels like I'm giving up or admitting defeat. But the goal here isn't actually to get people to like the sequels. Again, I don't think there's anything anyone could do that would make some see the movies differently or in a new light and suddenly start enjoying them. Rather, what I'm trying to do is sell a post-sequel trilogy story or set of movies, a trilogy, using those characters. Again, mainly Rey. Meaning my goal is actually to just try and salvage the sequel characters, to be able to use them in a way that tells a story people would be willing to watch and hopefully enjoy. And that is a whole different task than getting people to like the original films that they were in. Though, yes, the films are still, in a sense, a big hurdle to try and overcome when it comes to getting someone to like a story that involves or includes them. There are a lot of people who really, really hate those movies and some of the characters. And so I think my best bet would be to try and use all that hate to my advantage, to lean into it even, and to try and make it a part of the story, to let that hatred flow. So how do I do that? Well, Rey has taken the Skywalker name, and obviously a lot of fans here in the real world have taken exception to that. They don't like it. So what if in-universe, in the Star Wars galaxy itself, there are those who don't like it either, especially if the knowledge that she is a Palpatine has gotten out and spread across the galaxy, and there are doubts or questions about what really happened on Exegol, or what her real motivations are or were. What if some believe she didn't go there to defeat Palpatine, but rather to join him or to take his place? What if some believe she led the fleet there in an effort to lead them into a trap? What if it's all just one giant trap? That's what many believe. What if misinformation has spread across the galaxy, and when she sort of announces herself to be Rey Skywalker to the whole galaxy, which let's say she did at some point after it was all said and done, what if many believe this is her just trying to use the Skywalker name to hide her past and real intent? Let's say the opening crawl of our first movie starts by saying something like, Rey Skywalker has proclaimed to the galaxy that she will bring back the Jedi Order to protect them, but a dark truth has come out about her past. She is the continuation of the Palpatine lineage, and many believe she craves the same power her grandfather once had, that she seeks to steal the Skywalker name and legacy that brought about the end of Palpatine and his rule. And so basically, many in the galaxy refuse to call her Rey Skywalker and call her Rey Palpatine instead. Sound familiar? And they don't want her either. They hate Rey and don't want her rebuilding the Jedi Order. They want her to simply go away and be forgotten. And so this is what Rey does. She too goes into hiding or exile and begins to wonder if maybe Palpatine is within her still, that the transfer did work somehow. Because, I mean, according to what we see in the film, she was supposed to kill Sidious and take his place, or he was going to possess her after she killed him, or something like that. Either way, she did actually kill him. I'm not sure why melting him with his own Force lightning doesn't somehow count as killing him. So what if she's starting to fear that Palpatine has indeed taken her over, that the galaxy is right about her, that she is Rey Palpatine, and she cannot escape this, and she's unfit to rebuild the Jedi Order? Though, to be clear, we're not somehow bringing Palpatine back again. This is just a fear she is going to grapple with, and I know she grapples with it in The Rise of Skywalker for like 10 minutes, but she's going to grapple with it more here, and the fact that the galaxy has turned on her only intensifies this fear. Furthermore, the Force ghosts are gone and will not be able to help her. Basically, when we see or she sees Luke and Leia at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, that was the last time for them. Not unlike in the EU, where Obi-Wan kind of tells Luke goodbye at the start of Heir to the Empire. Something similar has happened this time. Luke and Leia tell Rey their work here is finished, and she has to forge her own path now as she rebuilds the Order. Though, yes, they do warn her there will be more challenges ahead, the dark side is never destroyed, it only is temporarily defeated. And, of course, in Rey's absence, and with the galaxy still trying to come together and heal after what the First Order did, a new threat immediately emerges. And no, it's not going to be the next New Order or something like that, not a new iteration of the Empire, but rather a threat from afar, a threat from the unknown regions. It attacks the Republic at its weakest. We could even potentially use the Grisk, which were introduced in the newer Thrawn novels and are part of the new canon, or we could just come up with something else entirely new and different. What it is right now isn't super important. I will cover it all in a future video, should you all kind of vote to be a future video in this series. Just to know it is not another Empire. Either way, with Rey gone and unable to save the day, that's when Ahsoka shows up and uses the power of Mortis she's going to get in the next season of Ahsoka to smite all the enemies and... No, I'm just kidding. That would be Dave Filoni's version of this story. And so seriously here, with Rey gone, a new heroic figure emerges out of the blue to save the day. More specifically, a new Jedi arrives and leads the Republic to a first and temporary victory over this new enemy. And this new Jedi will claim to have been, let's say, secretly trained by Yoda himself while he was exiled and in hiding on Dagobah, which is not a piece of information that Yoda was ever on Dagobah and all that, and that he trained Luke and so on. That's not a piece of information that virtually anyone outside of Luke himself or his inner circle are aware of, which will perhaps lend some credibility to his story. Furthermore, this new Jedi will claim that he, before he could help fight the Empire back in the day, that he somehow got lost in the unknown regions and has been there and fighting this enemy ever since. And he knows all about them. He has a plan to defeat them, and thus he is obviously going to be a very valuable ally to the New Republic. This Jedi will also have a very recently, we'll see it happen in the first film probably, but they'll have taken on a new apprentice or Padawan, that being Finn, who Rey has just abandoned, even after he finally told her that he's Force sensitive, which we see him kind of trying to do in The Rise of Skywalker.
Rey, I never told you when!
And this new Jedi will, with Finn at his side, promise to rebuild the Jedi Order and to ensure protection for the Republic that, once again, is trying to rebuild from the ashes of destruction and disaster, all the while being attacked by this new enemy. And while all this is going on, Rey, having heard about this new Jedi to arrive while in exile and that Finn has decided to join him, she will somehow realize or know or come to believe that this new Jedi is not a Jedi at all, but some kind of new dark side threat. Perhaps she goes back to Ahch-To for her time in exile, to the same island and temple we see in the sequels where Luke exiled himself, which I know is also where she kind of exiled herself for like 5 minutes in The Rise of Skywalker. But let's just say she goes there again and has another vision in the dark side cave that involves this new Jedi, about him being evil, and she's not sure if that's true or not, or if the dark side is just trying to trick her into becoming what the galaxy claims her to be, that it wants her to go and take out the false Jedi, who is actually a real Jedi, and to become Rey Palpatine, to become his or Sidious's replacement, and to bring back the Sith and all that sort of stuff. And all of this doubt sends her on her own adventure to uncover the truth about what is really going on. And, well, that's my basic idea, or the opening pitch I would give Disney to see what they think, as well as my opening pitch to all of you, me asking if this is something that should continue or not, meaning these videos in this series, if it becomes that, because that's going to be all I got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to those comments below and tell me what you think. Is there literally nothing that could ever save Rey, or is this the start of something that could do just that, or it's interesting enough to continue even if you don't believe it'll work, or maybe you got a better idea you want to share? Whatever the case may be, leave a comment below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.